Okay, ICS3U. I think it's day 4-ish, Unit 1. This lesson is going to be on sequence of commands. In the warm-up, we were sort of talking about the idea if you change the order of commands in a program, it can have pretty big difference in the outcome. And that's what we're going to play around with today, as well as we're going to be introduced to a little bit of fun stuff in Ready, which is some graphics. Um, Another little note, this is a sidebar, and you're going to have to get used to the sidebars. It's part of being in Restall's class. There's the sidebars. Um, Today we're talking about sequence of commands, but also I want to mention that, the note that I took, that we're taking, and it doesn't matter what program you're using to take your notes. I really don't care about what program you're using. I'm using Smart Notebook here. You'll see, and I got my title. This is the Smart Notebook software. I'm also going to have the same note, and I actually originally wrote this note in WordPerfect, so it really doesn't matter. The message that I wanted to give to you, though, is you should feel comfortable opening up any piece of new software and goofing around with it. It's part of computer literacy, is just playing around with some software, and don't. It's good to be good at a certain piece of software, but if you're attached to it, you can only use WordPerfect or you can only use Microsoft Word, you might be stuck. So it's nice to get a variety. And I'm using Smart Notebook here. There's a couple reasons that I'm using Smart Notebook. One is that I can hide some of the note from you. I never gave you a skeleton of this. You're copying it down. But here you go. You're typing, and if I'm going too fast, you can pause the video. But it says the HSA console has many built-in graphics commands. Note, other IDEs, and IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. There's an important computer science term, if you're not familiar with it, IDE, Integrated Development Environment. This idea, an IDE is where you write programs. They have different ways of handling graphics. So this is something that's only in Ready, and you see I've got my Ready screen on the left here, so I'm going to open a new HSA console application template, and I'm going to call this, what do I want to call it? I want to call it sequence of commands. And then again, remember, this console C business is only HSA. If you opened up a different Java program writing thing, not going to be there. The list of command signatures are on the shared drive. They're also, I probably included a few on the website. Command signatures are this idea of how to use this command. You're going to fill in some blanks and how to use a command. For example, c.drawRect blah, 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 blah. There's 4 numbers there. What that will do is draw a rectangle with the upper left corner at the point 050. And it'll have width 350, so this next thing is the width, and the height or depth is 200. So I'll show you that in a second. And notice, by the way, that I changed the font there to, this is Courier, that font, just to make it look like what it looks like in Ready. So I'm going to actually do that. Draw rect. Notice the camel case, 0, 50, 350. Yes, you should be doing this as well. This is good, clean fun. And then I'm going to run this program. And there's the rectangle. Fancy, eh? And that drew a rectangle. And so that's the point 050. It's 350 wide, 350 wide, and this is 200. And so notice this is 200 and this is 350. Obviously, the screen has certain shapes and sizes. The next thing I want you to do is get a picture of the screen here. Okay, get a picture of the screen. And how we do that, by the way, this is one of the reasons why Smart Notebook is so nice. is that this little thing here, I can click, when I click on it, I can take a picture of whatever I would like. So for instance, if I want a picture of this screen, then I can just do that. Bam. It's in my note. It's in my Smart Notebook note. Now notice if you're using WordPerfect or something like that, this won't work, right? You could still copy and paste this into Paint or some other program, and then go from there, and then copy and paste it into. What I want to mention here is I'm going to put some values on this, and you should do this too. Get a picture here because I'm going to add some stuff. I'm going to use an arrow and point to here. This is the 0.00. That's the 0.00. And at least on the initial console for HSA, this far corner here is 640/500. So down here in this corner, is 640/500. And see, this will allow you to sort of plan your graphics a little bit ahead of time when you're playing or when you're drawing. Okay. And actually, the size of the console can be changed if we wanted to. I don't know if you've played around with that, but that came up in one of our textbooks, our online textbooks. For instance, if I put in new console like this, stop that and run it, it'll change the size. It'll change the size of the console there. And I think this is in lines and columns, right? So not necessarily in pixels. These are in pixels. This is in lines and columns. 5 lines and 12 columns there. And there are various ways to change the size of the console. Notice that rectangle never even fit on in the new console. All right, dandy. So, well, Mr. Estall, I wasn't using Smart Notebook, so I can't draw a picture. I can't draw a picture. I can't do it. Well, hang on. I can help. In WordPerfect, see there's the picture, the original picture here. I'm going to delete that and show you how to do this. So, if I wanted that picture, where's my ready program? And I'm going to run this. So I'm going to delete this again, so it'll actually give me my original shape back. Run. Okay, there's my boring old rectangle. It'd be nice if it had some color, right? And I could actually get some color if I use the word fill. Stop, run. There, now it's black. Isn't that fine? Yes, it's fine. And say I wanted to get this picture into my screen. Well, one thing I can do is I press Control, print screen, or on my computer it's actually Function, print screen. Look for the print screen key. It doesn't look like anything happened, but what it did, it took a picture of your entire desktop and put it on the clipboard, and then I can go Control V to paste. And it takes a little while because graphics are big and nasty. And then there's what you were looking at, and that works in any program. So, well, we don't need all this stuff, but most word processors, I can change the size of the pictures, squish it down so it looks nice. So I'm not going to do all the details here because we're kind of missing the point now, aren't we? But that's fine. There's my picture. Isn't that nice? Well, goofed up. Oh, there's a couple of them there. Let's delete that other one. There's the one that I wanted to use. Oh, now it's empty. Our computer's fun. Let's try that again. I'm just going to go Control V to paste. And then I click and double click to edit the size of the picture. And then I could, make it small enough that I can see it. Notice that built into whatever program you're using are some stuff that you can point at and so on. You can put extra graphics on it to make your note look fabulous. Okay. I'm not going to finish that off nice. I'm going to go back to my smart notebook note. Okay, dandy. It says the order that commands are executed is important. So, for instance, if I wanted to make this rectangle red, right? I want to make it red, so why don't I set the color to red? And I'm going to do that. Oh yeah, remember it's American spelling, unfortunately. Color.red, like that, and then run it. It's still black. Well, why is it still black? I set the color to red. Well, I set the color to red after I'd already drawn it. So this command, where I set the color, needs to go before I actually draw the rectangle. Paste that in there, stop and run it, and there's my red rectangle. Isn't that fantastic? Okay, and I'm just gonna, build a little bit of a picture here to show you. The commands are the order is important. I'm going to move this. Is going to be moved over here instead of 0, 50. I'm going to have 50, 0. And then I'm going to set my color to white. C dot set my color to white. And then C dot fill rectangle. And by the way, I messed around with these beforehand, so I know it would look okay. But you can plan ahead and figure out where or what these numbers should be so it fits nice. And so what's going to happen? It's set the color back to white. Then it's going to fill a rectangle at 150. 150 is over here. That's and 0. 150 and 0. And there's the width and there's the length. So let's see that. Dandy, hey, what does that look like? Wouldn't it be nice if there was a little maple leaf in there? Well, let's draw a maple leaf. Actually, and these are all built-in commands to HSA. Fill, rect, no, not fill rect, fill maple leaf, 165, comma 35, comma 125, comma. Okay. And again, these numbers I've played around with beforehand. So now what's going to happen? No maple leaf. What was the problem? The problem was the color was still white. I have to tell the computer where, what color I want it where. And notice that if I put it in here, it would draw it and then set the color to red. So where do I want it to be set back to red is right before I draw it. So goof around with the order, and it's going to goof around with your drawing. There, that's dandy. What happens if I put this in the other order? Control X to cut, Control paste. What's it going to look like? Well, predict. I'm going to press stop and play. What's it going to look like? Well, I'm going to draw a red rectangle and then a red maple leaf and then a white rectangle in the middle. So it's going to look like there's no maple leaf. The maple leaf got cut off. And there it is, right? The maple leaf's underneath there. The order of the commands was wrong. All right. So it says the order that the commands are executed is important. You're going to finish off your note here. A note about colors. All right, and so hang on here. I think that's the end of this note. Hopefully you can read that. Most colors are exactly like you'd think. So color blue, color yellow, but you can make new colors by substituting new color RGB for a color RG and B, where RG and B are all integers. Let me show you what I mean there. So instead of color.red, I could put in the little code new color, and then just put some random numbers in here. I'm just making these up. And as long as these numbers are between 0 and 255, it's going to come up with some new number, or some new color, rather. Watch your brackets, and let's see what color, what kind of maple leaf flag I have. Oh yeah, that's right. I put the white rectangle over top of it. I got to make sure I have my order of commands correct. Let me do that. Oh, it's blue. Wow, or dark blue. Almost looks like a Toronto Maple Leaf flag. Not very nice. Let's change that color in a hurry. Make that 0. See what that looks like. Still blue. Well, let's make this one something else. Aha, black. That's way better than Maple Leaf blue, isn't it? Okay, so our goal for today's exercise, is you create a simple picture using the HSA console graphics. There's flags. You can make a logo, McDonald's logo, a happy face, and then save your work as graphics example in your Unit 1 programs folder. If you have time, so this is if you get this done in class today, goof up the sequence. Don't change any of the commands themselves. Just goof up the sequence, scramble it up, and see if your partner can unscramble, put it in the right order so it draws what you want it to draw. That's a little bit of a fun exercise. Okay, that's it. Have fun with your graphics and your sequence of commands.